Hello, I'm Colleen Smith with LexMedia, and I'm joined by Jim Shaw. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Colleen. How are you?
Jim, you're the editor of the Colonial Times Magazine.
Publisher.
Publisher.
That's right. Yeah. Well, my wife Laurie's the editor.
Okay.
Give the devil her due.
Yes, give her due. Well, thank you for joining us. We are here for the Coffee with the Candidates, and we are at Villago Cafe.
Yes, we are.
And what a fantastic place this is, and a great location to host Coffee with the Candidates.
It really is, because it's a centerpiece in the community. So people, it's not often, you come here, it's not often you don't find somebody you know here.
Yes.
Everyone that comes through the door is a neighbor or a friend.
Okay. And what we wanted to do at LexMedia is really kind of have this very relaxing format for the candidates that are running for re-election. Yeah. The election is Monday, March 3rd in Lexington. And today we will be joined by the candidates running for selectmen, the candidates running for school board, and also the planning board. So it's going to be a great day.
Yeah, I hope the voters will learn something.
Okay.
From each of these candidates.
Okay. Well, we're joined today by Judy Crocker. Judy, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And you're one of the candidates running for school board.
Yes. Actually, your Midwestern twang comes out. We call it school committee.
School committee, excuse me. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And you had sent over some information about all of the experience that you've had in the town of Lexington. And I was wondering if maybe you could share your kind of platform of why you're interested in running for school committee.
I believe I can bring the perspective that I've gained through my 20-plus years of experience volunteering both for the schools and for the municipal side of the town to the table. And through my experience and my leadership and really my record of success, I hope that my perspective will bring things forward and just add something different to the present committee.
And in looking at your past experience, you did talk about your municipal experience and also being on the Harrington Site Council, president of the Harrington PTA. You also have so much experience in the with the ad hoc transportation committee, as well as the Safe Routes to School committees, and also working with the towns and the busing. Maybe you could share with us your experience with that.
That's a lot. Some of it involves PTA work, some of it belongs a town committee work. And so basically the Sidewalk Committee was created in '05, and from that Safe Routes to School, which is a national, international based program, was originated. And in Lexington, unlike the state program, we incorporate, along with walking and busing, and creating a sense of community with the children and the schools. You want the schools to be a good neighbor. We also include bus ridership. And what we've discovered with Safe Routes to School is we have a public safety issue in our town where we have too many cars trying to navigate streets that are too small onto school properties that can't handle it. So through all of this, we try to understand why people don't take the bus and why people don't walk. And so we've tried to address issues on both sides of the fence. And through the school bus issues, the ad hoc School Transportation and Safety Committee was formed at the request of the selectmen and the school committee. And through that, we have addressed the issues why people haven't been taking the bus. They have been cost, they've been length of route, they have been even discipline on the bus. We have cameras now. We've lowered the price of the bus. But and we've also made partnerships with other entities so that we could expand what the bus really offers in today's to better meet the needs of today's students. So we were very fortunate. We started with a town meeting article, citizens article, that gave us a school bus subsidy for 1 year to lower the price. And from there, after 2 years, we've added more than 800 students to the bus. So our bus ridership, now 44% of all Lexington students take the bus, which is a wonderful number, and we're working to still increase that number. And we also have a partnership with LexPress, where we offer really an after-school late bus program for the middle and high school kids. And this is the third year for that program. Over 1,000 students have participated, and it's a win-win because it also fills a downtime for LexPress. So we're filling the buses when they don't ordinarily have the ridership. And also we have what we call the Right After Elementary program, where we actually transport elementary students to about 8 after-school enrichment programs. So that's been a wonderful partnership for that group.
So the extended day programs?
Well, more than extended day. So basically, we met with about 14 after-school programs in Lexington. Beyond the typical Hayden and Monroe, we had Russian School of Math, the Chinese School of Language and Math, Keys for Kids. There's an assortment of programs. And so basically, what we do is that the school buses all end up on Bedford Street. And so driving around town, and actually since 1979, the school bus has provided this transportation to Hayden children who go to their extended day program. So we just expanded it. If the bus is going around town anyways, it might as well just
Right.
stop in front of Monroe or stop. So it's developed a great partnership where the enrichment programs, their arm of it is that they have to meet and greet the children and have a place for them to stay. But they, overall, I would say, the businesses appreciate the lack of traffic and lack of congestion. They appreciate the children really arriving almost at the same time and on time. So it's been a win-win.
So how would you say all of these experiences, because you've had so much experience working with the schools for this role, as well as the municipal side, will help you in your new role if you were to win for school committee?
I think it proves that I work across many wide range of stakeholders. I'm not shy about knocking on someone's door, and I'm not shy about creating a relationship where it may not have existed in the past. And I fully believe that, you know, Lexington is a community, and the schools take 72% of the budget. They need to reach out more, and we need to have more collaborative relationships in order to get the same job done.
Can I ask you why now versus before? You've been involved in and around the schools for upwards of 20 years.
Yes.
And you chose now to run. Is there a particular reason why? I mean, I know that you talked about the democratic process and making sure voters have a choice, and I'm wondering, is that really important to you?
It is, and I think for quite a while now, for many offices in Lexington, there hasn't been a choice. But even besides that, personally, it's a good time for myself and for my family. My 3 kids are 19, 21, and 23, so they've graduated from the program. I always promised them if I ever undertook such a new volunteer hat that they would be out of the system. But that's a personal choice for my family. That was a family decision. Also, I do chair 3 town committees right now: the Sidewalk Committee, Safe Routes to School, and the Ad Hoc School Transportation Committee. And it's very unusual, but all 3 committees are in a very good place, and it's a possible time for me to walk away, and you know their work will still progress. So the stars and the moons just seem to have aligned.
Sure. Now let me ask you, in terms of other committees and other activities, were you involved in the anti-idling program?
Yes.
I mean, I know that's become a very important thing in the community.
Yes, we had a wonderful committee. At the time, it was chaired by Tony Galesis, who I believe was a town meeting member for many, many years, along with a soccer coach. He basically in '07, we successfully presented at town meeting our proposal, and so they approved it. So now we have a bylaw recommending and educating the community about the state really no idling laws and statutes. And if you look around town, we have blue signage everywhere. And
it's caught on too. It's not just
Yes.
the schools. I've seen local businesses with anti-idling signs.
yes,
I know the Sunoco station up in the Five Forks area
Yes.
has one.
yes,
And they're
yes.
encouraging people to shut the engines off.
Exactly, exactly. And I have to say, the owners of that establishment actually worked with the committee at the time, and it was a very collaborative relationship, and we got a lot done.
That's
So
great.
it was very good.
Now, one of the things that people talk about, you put your ear to the ground about, why it's important to have a change. There are folks out there that are somewhat concerned that maybe the superintendent has a little too much leeway with the current committee, and I don't know if that's something you'd want to talk about.
I think that's one of the hot button items in this day and age. I believe that one of the things I think we've lost sight of is the process. And one of the charges of the school committee is to supervise the superintendent on top of budget and policy. And I think if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, the school committee would be the board of directors, and the superintendent would be the CEO. So it's a job of the school committee to make the superintendent accountable. And I think in terms of his contract, I think we really have to look at the process in which that has been handled, in terms of better communication with the community about the process, and also transparency. There's, you want everything to be above board, and you want everyone to be on the same page. And having been a supervisor in my before children life, I always tied the performance evaluation into any salary increase. And in Lexington, we do not do that for the superintendent, so I would like to look into that. And I believe that's part of the process.
Now, you opened the door. What did you do before? What was your professional career prior to this?
Great question. Something we don't talk about a lot anymore because I've been volunteering for so long.
Before I was a full-time mom, I was a supervisor of a regional reference laboratory at the West Roxbury VA, and I also worked part-time at the clinical chemistry lab at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. And when my son was a toddler, I completed my MBA. So I have a science, healthcare, business background.
Okay. Well, and talking also about another hot button issue is, as we hear a lot about the overcrowding in the Lexington schools, in particular as the high school is looking at very large numbers coming up. I know town meeting passed an article for modular space, but how do you feel about that, and what do you think the town can do and the school committee can do to address the overcrowding in the schools?
I think enrollment is more than just the high school. I think we have 4 schools in particular that are hot button right now. That would be the high school with the modulars, that would be Bridge, that would be Fisk, and that would be Estabrook. So I think that's where the focus is right now, not to say that the enrollment isn't impacting all the schools. We need to look at the capacity of our schools, and we need to come to grips with a better forecasting model so we can understand that. There are many ways that you can deal with increased capacity. I would say redistricting would be last on my list. Modules at the high school is one option. They're permanent. It'll be a brand new wing at the high school. But there's other ways of doing it. You can do different types of renovations, different types of reconstruction. But I think and repurposing of classrooms. Those are all issues. Some could happen sooner than later. But I think when you look at any of these questions, you really have to look at parity. We have 6 elementary schools. It should be very specific that what you have at one elementary school, you have at another. We don't want competing factors. We're all Lexington public school students. So given that, I think we just have to try to keep that in mind when we try to maintain our dedicated space for, say, art and music in the library.
I have a quick question for you.
Just a quick question.
Yeah, I try to keep them simple. You know, over the years we've heard the stories at the high school about how kids who are sort of caught in the middle sort of fall through the slots, and oftentimes, you know, the folks who are on ed plans and the kids who are really achieving and excelling in academia are the ones who are on the radar screen. And all too often I hear about kids who sort of, you know, who aren't getting the attention they need. Is there something we can do about that? First of all, is that a fallacy? Does that actually exist, or?
My friends have been talking about this on the playground and in coffee shops like this for more than 20 years. So this is not new. Just as enrollment issues are not new, because our students all had schools with modules in them, and that was 20 plus years ago. So yes, I believe it's an issue. There are changing needs with today's student population that didn't exist 10 years ago, but I believe this particular instance does. I really believe the school committee working with the system should try to help ensure that we try to make all the students feel as though they belong to the school community. This tends to be a sense of disconnect and floating through the system. I think there's different ways we can do that. I think we can do some of them, and I'm not saying, you know, there's many low-cost, no-cost options here. Not everything comes with a big price tag. I believe that if we work from the bottom up and the top down, for example, I'd love to see having some of my own kids involved with student government at the high school, and so I understand a little bit how it works. I'd like to see more involvement of the school councils and senates, etc., during X block or during some other time. I don't care if, you know, once a month, you know, each class has an allotment during X block or something, and they're just showing, you know, Three Stooges movies, or you know, Beavis and Butthead, or whatever it might be. You can tell it's a generational switch here. So that's just one example, just non-competitive, just bringing the class together and just making everyone feel good. I don't care if they, you know, burrito breakfast day. You know, they could do whatever they wanted to do. And that was just this one example. And then, and all the students really suffer from stress, no matter where you are in the academic spectrum. Stress is huge. And so looking at that, I think we need to continue to embrace that. I also believe that, you know, the face of our student body is changing, and I think our faculty needs to change with that, you know, culturally and otherwise.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask as we near the end of the interview, is how you do think the town can address the changing diversity and cultures that are happening in the town, and how we can, you know, really move forward as a community and bring all these cultures together.
It is definitely, it's a global world. We all are interconnected and interfaced with each other. Everything's screen time, no matter where on the planet you live. So I think that's a great segue into elementary world language. I really, truly believe that language should be part of the core curriculum because we live in a global world. And we want our students to be able to compete and communicate in a global world. So, and that also, when you have a language, part of the language instruction is the culture. So, and that culture should partly reflect your community. So perhaps, for an example, in the elementary years, you know, when we bring back the world languages, perhaps we should look beyond, say, Spanish and French, and maybe include Mandarin or something, another language and culture base that better reflects who we are.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Judy, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Yes, thank you, Judy.
both.
We
And
wish
then
you the best.
we wish you the best on Monday, March 3rd.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And hopefully the winter will be kind, and
Yes.
we'll all, so please vote on March 3rd.
Exactly.
Yes, that's right. That's most important. Get out and vote.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.